That night, while riding the train back to my apartment, my phone buzzed. It was from Liam. Just one line. "There's something I didn't say that weekend, something I still need to tell you." I stared at the screen, frozen. My heart started racing. What hadn't he told me? Why now, after everything we had shared, after all the silences we finally broke? I thought we had said it all. But maybe I was wrong. And that's when I realized some truths don't come out in the moment. They wait for when you're finally ready to hear them. On that tranquil afternoon, I found myself back home from college, crossing the threshold of a door steeped in childhood memories. The house enveloped me in a different ambience, quieter, yet imbued with an unexpected warmth. My 20-year-old stepbrother, Liam, welcomed me with a relaxed smile, appearing taller and more grown-up than I recalled. "Hey," he remarked, casually tossing a soccer ball between his hands. "Hey," I responded, taken aback by the stark contrast in his demeanor. That morning, our parents departed for a weekend getaway, leaving only the two of us behind. Our bond during childhood was never especially strong. I was 3 years older, and our lives seldom intersected. Yet, that afternoon, a subtle change occurred as I began to unpack my belongings. Liam rapped on my door, eager to discuss plans for ordering pizza later. He inquired and I acquiesced. Before long, we found ourselves in the living room, savoring slices and browsing through the TV channels. The dialogue unfolded with a surprising ease. We chuckled over cherished family tales, reminiscing about that one time we constructed a fort from bed sheets and found ourselves in hot water for toppling a lamp. "You were quite the mischief maker. I playfully provoked you. We take charge," he retorted with a sly smile. The exchange flowed effortlessly, reminiscent of the unblemished joys of childhood that lingered on into the evening. In the kitchen, I discovered Liam diligently washing the dishes. "I understood," I replied, moving in alongside him. "You're the guest now," he quipped, but I swiftly reached for a towel. As we tidied up, our conversation drifted to his aspirations for college. He shared his aspirations, envisioning a future as an engineer, crafting innovations that could transform lives. His fervor took me by surprise. "He was completely unaware of your ambition," I remarked, and he merely shrugged. "It seems you were often preoccupied, perhaps unaware that the comment had a subtle sting, not harshly, but rather as a gentle nudge, reminding me of how much he had truly blossomed." I remembered suddenly how Liam used to sit alone on the porch while I was holed up in my room, avoiding the noise of family. There was a time when he overheard Mom once say, "At least Ethan has a future," thinking he hadn't heard. Perhaps I had underestimated how deep that hurt ran. The following morning, I awoke to discover Liam outside, diligently tending to his car. With his sleeves rolled up and hands smeared in grease, he exuded focus and determination. I lingered at the window for a moment, taken aback by the sheer capability he displayed. "Are you simply going to gaze?" He shouted my name as soon as he spotted me. I chuckled and accompanied him for the ensuing hour. He elucidated the workings of the engine, revealing components that were previously beyond my comprehension. I nodded, somewhat impressed by his remarkable patience. As dusk settled, a tempest approached, extinguishing the lights. In that cozy space, we illuminated the room with flickering candles and engaged in spirited card games around the kitchen table. The rain drummed softly on the windows, while the flickering candlelight enveloped the room in a cocoon of warmth and security. "I'm glad you're here," Liam remarked unexpectedly. His voice carried a gentler quality than it typically did. "I, too," I confessed. For the first time in years, a profound understanding of him washed over me. Not merely as my stepbrother, but as someone I had come to deeply respect for his growth and kindness, someone I was proud to call family. The ensuing silence held no awkwardness. The storm rumbled outside, yet within, there was a sense of comfort. I came to understand the depth of my gratitude for this unforeseen opportunity to reconnect. "Since when do you cook?" I inquired, reaching for a plate. "Since someone had to," he remarked with a shrug. I thought it would be wise to hone my skills. We shared a meal, and for once, The conversation transcended the usual small talk. Liam inquired about my aspirations, curious about my intentions now that I had graduated from college. I confessed that uncertainty still lingered within me. I had devoted countless hours pursuing agreement, yet I found myself at a loss for what lay ahead. "You'll find a way," he declared with assurance. "Your unwavering determination has always propelled you to bring your visions to life." His words lingered in my mind, revealing the depth of his belief in me, perhaps even more than I had faith in my own abilities. In the later hours of that afternoon, we joined forces to take on a few chores. Liam took it upon himself to handle the majority of the tasks, yet remained close at hand, drawing solace from the steady cadence of the work. We crafted a space nestled between the rhythm of folding laundry and the serenity of cleaning the patio. Our conversation drifted toward the topic of relationships. "Are you still involved with that guy?" Liam inquired with caution. I gently shook my head. It didn't come together as planned. He refrained from inquiring further, yet it was evident that curiosity lingered beneath the surface. He merely inclined his head in response. "It was his loss," he remarked, "and for reasons I cannot fully articulate, that held greater significance for me than anything else. Guidance might have been offered." That evening, we found ourselves engrossed in a film, an old action film that my dad always cherished. Throughout the evening, I noticed Liam looking thoughtful at times, as if something was on his mind that he hadn't yet shared. As the credits began to roll, he finally found his voice. "I recall the moment you departed for college," he murmured softly. "I believed I didn't. No, I suppose I believed you might have forgotten about me." My gaze fell upon him, a wave of astonishment washing over me. "Forget about you? You were perpetually occupied," he remarked. "Classes for friends. I thought you would find your way forward, and we would simply fade into the background." A sharp twinge of guilt washed over me. I had never considered it from that perspective. I had become so engrossed in my own existence that I failed to notice the widening chasm that had developed between us. "I have not forgotten. I suppose I simply didn't understand how to remain near." A faint smile graced his lips. "Ah, so you find yourself here at this moment." It was a seemingly simple statement, yet it carried a weight of significance, as if, despite all that had transpired, he continued to hold faith in Ethan, in the connection we had always shared. As the night deepened, I stumbled upon a note resting on my desk. It came from Liam. "It's wonderful to have you back." A smile crept across my face as I meticulously folded the paper, a gesture I hadn't performed in what felt like an eternity. I felt a renewed sense of belonging, not just as family, but as someone whose presence truly mattered to Liam. And I felt grateful that we had grown closer. The following day carried an air of distinction, a stillness that seemed to thrum with unspoken tension. Liam appeared lost in thought, his words few and far between as he sat at the breakfast table. I assumed he simply required some distance. Yet, as the afternoon wore on, an unsettling sensation began to creep in. He remained aloof. He sat outside on the porch, phone in hand, his gaze fixed intently on the screen before him. He sat quietly on the porch, staring at his phone, lost in thought. I asked gently if something was wrong. He paused, contemplated, then dismissed the thought with a shake of his head. "Merely a few matters concerning school. Nothing of great significance." I understood it was not insignificant. With a bit of coaxing, he ultimately revealed his thoughts. He had failed to meet a project deadline, placing his scholarship in jeopardy. "I ought to have managed that more wisely," he murmured. "Yet here I find myself, ensnared." "You're not confined," I remarked. "You're simply feeling overwhelmed." "I am unable to repair it," he retorted, irritation seeping through his words. "I have made an attempt for a second time." Later that evening, while putting some papers away, I stumbled across something buried beneath his textbooks, a half-written letter addressed to the academic advisor. It was dated from a week ago. Its opening lines struck me like a quiet thunder. "I'm writing to formally request withdrawal from the program." My breath hitched. Liam had seriously considered walking away from everything. And none of us knew. Words eluded me. He was far beyond mere upset. He felt a deep sense of disappointment within himself. Perhaps not everything can be mended all at once, I remarked thoughtfully. Yet, a beginning is always within reach. He remained silent, yet I sensed his attentiveness that evening. With my laptop positioned on the table, I began to type away. Liam strolled by and came to a halt. "What are you doing to assist yourself?" I stated, "If you intend to surrender, allow me the chance to attempt it first." He remained silent. Instead, he settled himself next to me. We dedicated countless hours to refining aspects of his project, honing ideas, addressing gaps, and discovering avenues for enhancement. Nevertheless, he possessed a keen intellect that he often underestimated, and before long, he found himself at the forefront, elucidating various concepts. I struggled to grasp the meaning. As we reached the end, I could sense a change in his demeanor. The frustration had dissipated, yielding to a more subdued sense of relief. Perhaps even pride would have faltered in the face of it. He remarked that you were responsible for the majority of it, even in your absence. I reminded him, "Indeed, you didn't allow me to walk away that night." I found myself reflecting on the profound impact he had on the boy. I recalled a time when my stubbornness and restlessness, always in pursuit of something elusive, transformed into a relentless dedication to hard work, a profound care for others, and an unwavering resolve, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. The following morning, I discovered him pacing the kitchen, a bundle of nerves. I inquired. "Indeed," he conceded. "Yet, I shall find a way." A smile graced my lips. "I am confident you will." He flashed a grin in return, and in that fleeting instant, a significant truth dawned on me. Liam transcended the role of mere stepbrother to me. He was a figure I truly respected, a person who inspired me to strive for improvement, to become better as well. With the acceptance of Liam's project, I witnessed the burden ease from his shoulders. He attempted to maintain an air of nonchalance. Yet, I understood the significance of that moment for him. He appeared unburdened, as if he could finally inhale deeply once more. "I am indebted to you," he stated. "You don't," to which I responded. "All you required was a gentle nudge to awaken the potential that lies within you." For the remainder of the evening, everything seemed to return to its usual rhythm. At ease. Simple. I believed that any lingering tension had dissipated. Yet, I found myself mistaken. The following morning, I noticed that Liam was unusually silent once more. He hardly uttered a word at breakfast, merely swirling his cereal in slow, deliberate circles. When I inquired if anything was amiss, he dismissed it casually. "It's nothing," he murmured. As I strolled by his room later, I caught snippets of his conversation on the phone. "I am uncertain," he remarked. "It's complicated." I refrained from inquiring about his meaning, yet an unsettling sensation lingered, suggesting it was somehow connected to me. That evening, we found ourselves on the couch, the glow of the television flickering before us, yet the atmosphere was thick with an unspoken weight. At last, he shifted his gaze toward me. "Have I done something?" He blinked, taken by surprise. "What?" "You've been acting strange all day," I remarked. "If I caused you any distress, you certainly didn't show it." He interjected swiftly, then hesitated as if uncertain of his next words. "Proceed." "I suppose this caught me off guard." "What do you expect from this?" he asked, his hand waving aimlessly. "Our time together, sharing conversations, truly connecting." I nearly laughed, but he was sincere. I didn't know either, but I found comfort in the fact that we had opened up and talked honestly. His expression softened, and for a fleeting moment, it seemed as though a quiet sense of mutual understanding hung in the air between us. "So, you're heading out shortly, aren't you?" he asked. "Yeah," I murmured softly. "In a matter of days." He nodded slowly, as if he were still mulling it over in his mind. "I am aware that our relationship has not always been harmonious," I remarked. "However, I take great pride in you, Liam." He gazed at me, a look of astonishment crossing his features. "Is that so?" "Indeed, I did say that." Your transformation has been remarkable and in such a positive light, if only for a fleeting moment." He remained silent. Then, a smile graced his lips. Not the typical sarcastic grin, but rather something authentic. "I share in your pride as well," he remarked. "You often behave as if you're still in the process of understanding everything, yet you possess a greater sense of composure than you realize." The words took me by surprise, yet I found myself believing him. On the day of my departure, Liam accompanied me to my vehicle. He stood there, shifting his weight awkwardly, as if he yearned to express something deeper. "You will emerge from this unscathed," I stated. "I am aware that you are." "You too," he responded just as I was about to step inside. He gave me a quick, slightly awkward hug, genuine but reserved. "Don't let so much time pass before your next visit," he murmured. A smile graced my lips. "I shall not." As I pulled away, a significant realization dawned upon me. We hadn't just reconnected, we rebuilt a stronger sense of trust and familial closeness. And regardless of where life led us, I was certain that bond would forever remain. That night, while riding the train back to my apartment, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. "There's something I didn't say that weekend, something I still need to tell you." I stared at the screen, heart suddenly heavier than before. What could it be? Why didn't he say it? When I was right there, was this the beginning of something new, or a secret finally trying to find its voice? If you've ever lost touch with someone who mattered, and life somehow gave you a second chance, what would you do with it? Would you take that step? Or let it slip again? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever reconnected with someone after years apart? If this story touched you, please leave a like, subscribe, and share it with someone you think needs to hear it. And if you're wondering what Liam didn't say in that message, stay tuned. The story isn't over yet. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are many more stories waiting to be told, and trust me, the next chapter might just surprise you.